Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to today's Wild Rift video. In today's video, we're going to be analysing one of the games between Team Queso and Rix. Now, this is game 4 of the best of 7 series. A very, very long day. There was a bunch of smoke and everything happening inside of the studio. But I feel like this game was kind of the pivotal point of the whole series. This is kind of makes or breaks it for both teams. You know, if Rix win, then they take it back to 2-2, and then they're able to, you know, get a bit of momentum and come back into the game because they were 2-0 down. And Team Queso, if they win as well, they're able to take it to championship point. So I'm going to be talking through the draft, talking through the gameplay, telling you guys what I think about the draft and the gameplay itself, and giving you guys a few reasons why I think certain decisions and everything happened. Obviously, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. So obviously, the legend Mozilla there as well, being the coach for Rix. I was rooting for Rix throughout this whole tournament as well. I know, you know, a lot of the players and everything as well. Now, go through draft quickly. The bans have obviously come out. You got Senna, Riven, and Seraphine on the side of Team Queso, and Rix go for Camille, Kha'Zix, and Galio. These are kind of the, I would say, standard bans throughout the whole tournament, really, except for really Seraphine. The game before this, Rix actually played Seraphine, and Friend completely popped off on Seraphine. So that's why Team Queso kind of switched it a bit round this time. They didn't want Friend on that Seraphine again because he got so many amazing encore ultis in the previous game. Obviously, Riven, a really nice flex pick. Snitch played it mid lane in this series. Doom can play it jungle. I think Leon even played it top lane as well. So really nice flex pick for Rix. And obviously Senna as well, with fasting Senna in a bot lane being really, really strong. And on the side of Rix, Camille, really, really strong flex pick again. Mid lane, top lane, jungle. Kha'Zix as well, really strong jungle at the moment. And Galio is just a really safe mid lane champion. But a one champion that Rix missed out on is this Ziggs. Now, Ziggs was, I think, the only champion, I could be mistaken, one of the only champions in this whole tournament that was 100% pick and ban. Now, the reason why is that Ziggs is just really, really strong. You know, super safe champion in the mid lane, can wave clear really, really well, can take towers really quickly as well. Just an absolute force to be reckoned with, you know. Not as strong in the early game. He still is quite strong in the early game with that wave clear. But in the mid and the late game is probably one of the strongest champions at the moment in the current meta. Then Rix follow up with the Gragas and the Renekton. Really nice, strong combination. You know, you got the Gragas, again, a really, really strong flex pick, which was a very high priority in this tournament. You saw it being playing in the top lane, in the mid lane, and even support as well. And you have that Renekton, the big beefy Renekton up in the top lane with Leon, which was really, really strong. And then on the side of Team Queso, they go for Lee Sin and Xayah. Lee Sin, again, a really strong jungler as well. Easy Doom counteracting that with his classic Xin Zhao. I think he's still one of the only people that actually plays Xin Zhao, but he's so strong on that champion, no surprise. And then you have the Xayah. Now the Xayah is obviously paired really, really well with Rakan, so I'm quite surprised they didn't really go for Xayah and Rakan. They probably didn't think that Rix we're not going to pick Rakan, because I don't think Clue actually plays Rakan, which obviously, as you see, that they don't actually pick that. They go for the Xin Zhao and the Kai'Sa. Now, Kai'Sa wasn't really picked a lot in this tournament, which I was quite surprised with, to be honest. Obviously, Friend is very, very good with, like, Ezreal, Senna, Seraphine as well, obviously, as I already mentioned. You didn't really see him play Kai'Sa a lot, but Kai'Sa is still a really, really safe champion. But it's kind of hard for Kai'Sa in this comp, I feel like, to actually kind of, you know, move around. You have Ziggs, which is obviously going to be, you know, staying back and poking quite a lot. Xayah against Kai'Sa. Xayah is really strong against Kai'Sa. Obviously, with Kai'Sa, you can kind of play a bit safe. But obviously, Team Queso gets Xayah and Rakan, which is a really, really strong duo. And I mean, Alexandra was saying it throughout the whole tournament as well. Like, Team Queso are, you know, have such a strong bot lane combination with Ibu and Memorize on this Xayah and Rakan. They played it pretty much throughout the whole of the Origin series, even through all the qualifiers as well. It's just really strong combination. And not Team Queso, and Rix finish off with the Ahri pick. Now, I was quite surprised to actually see Snitch on Ahri. I haven't actually seen Snitch play on Ahri a lot. He doesn't really play it during his streams, and he doesn't really play it in competitive, really, either. Maybe they, you know, practice it during scrims and everything. Obviously, I don't really know what happens behind the scenes, so I can't really say too much about that. But obviously, Ari, a really, really strong champion in the current meta and really, really strong and competitive. Her pick potential is just really, really strong with the charm. Her wave clear is obviously really good as well. You can kind of counteract the wave clear with Team Queso. Now, this was a really strong, really interesting, not strong, really interesting level 1 that you see quite a lot around the world with Wild Rift at the moment, is the top laners moving down towards the mid lane. Now, the reason why the top lanes go to the mid lane is that the mid lane is the first lane to crash in as the in Wild Rift. So what the top laners do is they go down to the mid lane, they push the mid lane to get priority, so the mid laners can roam and get a bit of vision, and then they use that to then go back to top lane. They have a level advantage as well. Not a level advantage, but they have XP advantage over their top lane up because they take the XP from the mid lane and then they roam up to the top lane and then they can get level 2 if the top laner is just standing there. So it puts the mid laner a little bit behind, but it puts the top laner quite far ahead. Now you can see in this situation, Team Queso actually did a lane swap. Now you don't really see lane swaps as much. Lane swaps are kind of this thing where, you know, people kind of catch teammates off, not teammates, they try and catch the enemies off guard. But a big thing here was Doom's jungle pathing. Now Doom was like, you know what, we're just going to kill this top lane. You know, Xin Zhao and Renekton, a really strong early combination, especially the Renekton being able to jump on the Xayah. And the big thing was that Rakan was actually nowhere near Xayah. Now I kind of want to go back and kind of show you what, you know, what was happening in this moment. You know, you can see Doom currently up in the top lane, and then Memorize actually, you can see Memorize going through trying to figure out where the jungler was. I think Memorize actually saw Ari going towards the race, so maybe he was trying to, you know, catch out Ari maybe with the Ziggs. You can see that also the Ziggs and the Lee Sin was mid lane as well. But Doom took that to his advantage. Doom saw that Xayah was alone in the top lane, and then both of them just flashed on top of the Xayah, did really, really well to collapse on the AD carry being alone. And, you know, a quick and easy first blood by Rix, and it was really, really well played. Really nice jungle pathing by Doom. I don't actually know if Team Queso actually saw Doom. You know, they have one ward, which is here. I'm not really too sure if they saw Doom there, but I think Doom, I actually think Doom went red buff into golems and it just went straight into top lane. Like, it was really, really well played by Doom and by Rix overall to get a nice pick off. And to be fair, like, early game, the whole what's the word called, the whole lane swap kind of backfired for Rix, and you can see now that the whole of Rix are down in the bot lane trying to collapse on this Darius, but a really good ward actually helps the Darius kind of play safe here and kind of keep himself a little bit safe. As you can see, really, really nice ward there by Acolyte to kind of see that the tower dive was coming on through. You can see that Acolyte put that ward down because he knew that he was in a 1 versus 2 lane, so he knew that if, you know, the jungler of Doom was trying to come down to maybe tower dive, that he would actually see him. And you can see Andre now being very, very safe and kind of backing up his top laner down here in the bottom lane. Now, the big thing here is that Memorized is just roaming around the map, and Ibu is getting a lot of solo XP and a lot of gold as well from this, which is quite nice, obviously, for Ibu on the Xayah. Obviously, with Xayah, you're going to be going for the crit items. You're going to be getting a lot of solo XP with, obviously, Snitch now going up into the top lane and Leon down in the mid lane. So you see Memorize is kind of duo now with the mid lane. Now, this is, I don't know, it seems very, very interesting, like, analyzing this whole game as a whole, like, looking back at it. Because, obviously, I was watching this live through my Twitch channel. But you can see that, like, Team Queso are just moving around the map, and it's crazy, you know, throughout this whole tournament, Team Queso were playing so well with, like, their whole wave management. Their vision control was so strong throughout this whole series as well. And it's just crazy to see, like, you know, their kind of idea around it. You know, they lane swap, they put Xayah solo up in the top lane, then they had Memorize kind of roaming around the top side of the map. And Memorize went down to mid lane, and you can see Memorized again roaming down to the bot lane now, and Xayah's still moving up into the top lane. So they kind of put in all the sources in the Xayah basket in the early game, which is not a bad thing, because if Xayah can get a lot of gold and a big XP lead early on, then she can definitely do really, really well. As you can see, Doom and Andre trying to go for this Rift Herald. Team Queso always went for Rift Herald in this series. It's kind of their high priority. That's kind of why they picked blue side as well, because Excounter picked up on it a bit in the cast, is that being blue side allows you to get easy access into the Rift Herald. Obviously on red side, you kind of have this barrier up here, which is kind of blocking you from going over to Rift Herald. As you can see, Team Queso get the Rift Herald, and Rix were kind of slow on this rotation, you know. Rix were kind of hesitant to try and go for the Dragon. As you can see, you know, Rix don't get the trade-off for the, you normally see kind of trades. You normally see the, sorry, excuse me. You normally see, like, the Dragon trade for the Rift Herald trade. This time, unfortunately, you know, Doom tried to go for the Rift Herald, realized that Andre was already on the Rift Herald, so he backed off. He tried to go to the bot side, but because Team Queso had their ADC up in the top lane and had their duo up in the top lane, you knew that they were going to prioritize the Rift Herald. You know, that's kind of what happens in these lane swaps. You know that when these lane swaps happen, Team Queso want to prioritize more on the top side of the map, and then Rix are going to prioritize more on the bot side of the map. But Doom getting a really good smite off here, being able to trade in for the Dragon. This is actually really, really funny to see live as well. Andre actually missed his W, I think. I kind of want to go back and see if he actually missed his W. But Andre trying to steal the Dragon, which is kind of no surprise this early on. Ocean Dragon as well. It was actually kind of low. How low did it get? Wow, it actually went really, really low. Actually, it's hard to really pause it at the perfect time when it went really, really low, to be honest. But the Ziggs bomb went off, went down to 1,300, 1,100. You see, someone smited. That might have been Andre or Doom smite. I'm not actually too sure whose smite it was. But then Doom got it in the end. Doom might have ulted it, actually, and got it. I don't actually know if it does damage to minions or not. I'm not really too sure if Andre... Actually, no, Andre... I don't know if Andre actually, you know, missed W, or if he just stood there to kind of bait the side of Rix, but he just walked out anyway. But a really, really nice charm by Snitch, which obviously why Ari is so, so strong. As you can see, Rix just go all in on this fight. You know, you have Friend coming in, you have Leon coming in as well with the Renekton, and it was just a really, really good pick off, and it kind of shows how strong Ari is, you know, in competitive. You know, being able to land that charm early on is super, super important. But this whole time, Acolyte is just pushing down the bot lane. You know, they get a few kills in the mid lane. Ibu gets really, really close here to getting a 1v3 outplay, but unfortunately not be able to get it. But Rix try and get this mid lane tower, try and, you know, get that mid lane priority. And the mid lane tower is one of the most important things in this game. You know, getting mid tower kind of opens up the whole map completely. But, you know, Ibu actually does really well. You know, even though Ibu actually dies in the end, hopefully I'm saying that right. I think it's Ibu or Ibu. Even though he dies in the end, he does get the minion wave. He does kill some of the minion wave, and he does take Rix actually really low on HP, which means that they can't get the mid lane tower because Ruiz is back in mid lane with the Ziggs. You know, Andre is now rotating up to the top side, trying to get the top lane tower. And this is just really, really well played. You know, no one is up in the top lane by Team Queso. So they roam around the map. They roam the Ziggs as well, which obviously Ziggs with the satchel charge can take towers really, really easy. You can see Rix is now trying to trade in towers, trying to take this bot lane tower, but they're kind of slow to the party. And as you can see, you know, Team Queso kind of capitalize on this. They realize they're like, wait, Rix are not even on the first tier tower down the bot lane. So Ruiz kind of carries on pushing up in the top lane. I don't think they get the tower up in the top lane, but they do take a lot of damage. Clue does really well to defend the tower up in the top lane as well. But just really, really well played by Team Queso, you know, capitalizing on no one being top lane on the side of Rix, using that Rift Herald, rotating the Ziggs as well, being able to get that quick, easy early game tower. You know, Rix do get the bot lane tower, but they don't get the first tower gold. And then Team Queso are even able to get the bot lane tower at the same time as well. So just overall, you know, really, really good rotations on the side of Team Queso, being able to capitalize on the Ziggs bomb and obviously the Rift Herald that they took early on. Most of the time when you do trade the Rift Herald and the Dragon, you are always looking at the side of the team that has the Rift Herald to see if they can utilize the Rift Herald to full effect. Snitch here trying to get a Charm Horse here in the mid lane. Unfortunately, doesn't get it. But if the team that has the Rift Herald can capitalize and can get that first tower gold, depending on what dragon it is, you know, normally on the side of the Rift Herald, if you do get the first dragon, you normally come out ahead in gold. But sometimes it kind of counteracts with the dragon buff. On the side of, obviously, Rix, they obviously got the Ocean Dragon, which is quite good. You get more healing for the Xin Zhao, for the Renekton, for the Kai'Sa as well, which is really, really nice. So you'll probably see that on the side of Team Queso, they're going to go for a bit of anti-heal to make sure that they don't actually get that. You can see Xayah now has the Solari Charge Blade and the BF Sword. You see Kai'Sa has the Q upgrade going towards the third ability upgrade as well. Now, Snitch trying to get an engage off in the mid lane, unfortunately doesn't come off. He has the Hextech Proto Belt with the charm as well. But Ruiz does really, really well here to sidestep the engage here. I'm not actually too sure if Snitch might have manually tried to. Oh no, he flashed. Sorry, completely missed that. He actually flashed the charm. So I think Snitch was trying to like auto aim the charm, or he might have manually aimed it. I'm not too sure. You can't really tell in the spectate mode. But Ruiz does really well to reactively flash there, which is really, really well played. Because if they would have got the kill there onto Ruiz, they would have been able to push the mid lane tower. And this is why Ziggs is just so frustrating overall. You know, things like this, you know, Ruiz is just able to ulti mid lane waves, able to ulti the champions, clear middle lane waves, and it's really hard on the other side to be able to get that mid lane tower. But as you can see, Rix do get the kill onto the Ziggs, and this is where Rix turn around this fight. You know, they go all in. Great Gragas battle by Clue, but Ibu stays safe with the ultimate, and this is just a really, really strong disengage overall by the side of Team Queso. Memorize uses the ulti, Ibu uses the taunt, but again, a great charm again by Snitch catches out Ibu in the end, and then Team Queso fall to bits here, which is absolutely crazy. But you know, credit where credit is due to Snitch, you know, landing multiple charms onto Ruiz in the mid lane, and then also Xayah as well there, which is really, really nice. And another charm as well onto Lee Sin, which is crazy. But you know what the craziest thing is about this whole thing? Is that look at the gold lead. Rix is 10 to 1 on kills, but only, what, 1.5k, 2k gold ahead? It blows my mind how Team Queso is still, you know, even on gold. It just shows that, like, you know, throughout the whole of this game, they were able to, you know, manage waves really, really well and get a lot of minions. And then, obviously, on the side of Rix, they actually lost a lot of minions. Obviously, towers as well. You can see that Team Queso got the first tower of the game, so they got gold from that as well. And they also have 2 towers compared to the one of Rix. But you see the replay here. Obviously, Snitch doing really well. Actually, Leon flashes to get the stun off there onto the Ziggs, which Ruiz was a little bit too far ahead. And as you can see, you know, Rix just wants to go in now, but a great ultimate by Ibu, great taunt by Memorize, kind of does really well to disengage. But the problem is Team Queso tried to come back in here. They try and fight, as we see the replay again, but Clue does really well with the ultimate, Ibu does really well with the reaction. You see Memorize is in the back line as well, taunting everyone, so they can't actually do anything as well. And as you can see again, Rix is going in. They feel like they're ahead. They're trying to get the gold lead and do really, really well to catch it off Memorized. And then Clue, unfortunately, knocks Acolyte away. But, I mean, it might have not been unfortunate. Maybe he was trying to save Doom there. But Rix, you know, this is what Rix need to do with their comp. You know, they have the Renekton for the early game. They have the Ari. They have the Xin Zhao. They want to play aggressive in the early game. They want to try and get that lead so then the Ziggs can't get online. Because in the early game, you could do, you know, quite well against the Ziggs. He is still quite annoying. It's still quite hard for him to, for you to get the mid lane tower, as you can see. Rix still has the enemy mid tower on half HP because it's just really, really hard. If they can catch out, if they can dive onto the Ziggs, you know, you can kill the Ziggs and you can get that mid lane tower. But again, so trying to catch out in the mid lane. But once it gets to like the mid and the late game, which is kind of what Team Queso is getting to the point at the moment, as they catch out Ruiz again in the jungle. But Ruiz does really, really well to satchel charge away, and Andre does kick Clue away. So really, really well played there by Ruiz. Bit of a risky path to take there, but they were able to survive. And as you can see now, look, they're trying to get the mid lane tower. They know that Ruiz is low, but look at this. Ruiz with the ultimate, Ruiz with the wave clear, even on half HP, is able to just clear the minion wave straight away. Even though he got caught in the top side, he rotated to mid lane, got the mid lane wave, and it's just, it's so frustrating to play against this champion, you know. Sometimes in solo queue, Ziggs might not, you know, pull out as much as well as competitive. But in competitive, when, you know, these mid lane towers and this whole vision control and wave management is so important in competitive, it's just so frustrating to play against Ziggs, you know. No one has better wave clear than Ziggs. You know, Ori has actually pretty decent wave clear, but no one has better wave clear than Ziggs. Ziggs can just, you know, push through the mid lane tower, push through the mid lane wave, sorry. You know, just with the Xayah as well. Obviously, Xayah has a lot of wave clear with her feathers as well. As you can see here, that, you know, on the side of Rix, they really, really want this mid lane tower. You know, they group in mid lane. They're trying to get mid lane tower. But as you can see, you know, on the side of Team Queso, they're always moving to the side lanes first. They're always getting the push in side lanes, which is what they did really, really well throughout this whole series. Leon down in the bot lane now, trying to clear out the bot lane wave. You know, kind of playing... You know, Team Queso were kind of more proactive, and Rix were trying to play reactive, which is kind of a bit of a I wouldn't really say a problem, but a bit of a downside to kind of the way that Rix want to play this game with their team comp. You know, they want to be the ones that are being proactive. You know, with the catch with the Gragas, with the Ari charm, etc. As you can see. As you can see by the Ziggs poke, you know, you saw the Ziggs ultimate by the dragon, which was so impactful. As you can see, Memorize gets a good knock up onto Leon, forces out the ultimate, but the Ziggs damage is it's just so disgusting. Like, it's absolutely crazy. You know, again, putting Stitch down like a quarter of HP from the Ziggs bombs was absolutely nasty. You know, the Ziggs ultimate by the Rift Herald putting Stitch down to half HP. You know, multiple times throughout this whole game. And as you can see, you know, okay, this is one pivotal point of this game that I actually want to analyze very quickly. Now, you can see here, Ruiz has no mana. Now, obviously, I don't know what actually happens, but I'm pretty sure Rix flip a switch here. They're like, okay, Ruiz has no mana. We need to try and get this mid lane tower. We need to try and kill this Ziggs, or it's going to be just really, really hard for us to get the mid lane tower at any point. This was kind of the turning point, I feel like, of the whole game. You know, Rix are in the gold lead, like 3,000 gold lead at the moment, even though it is 11-1. But at this point, you know, Leon's like, okay, I'm going to go in. Ziggs is 0 HP, but they don't see Andre. You know, the vision control is not there. They don't see Andre behind. You know, they can see, they have the minion wave coming in. They see that Ruiz has no mana, so he won't have enough minion wave. He maybe has enough mana for maybe 1 Q, and that's about it. So Leon's like, cool, I'm going to go in. Leon goes in, but you can see here, Ruiz puts a fadeaway Q that does a lot of damage to Snitch, and you can see Andre with the flank as well, and you can see the cavalry is arriving on the side of Team Queso. Doom is still up in the top lane as well. They try and go for the mid lane dive, and unfortunately it doesn't work out for Rix. You know, Memorize comes in with the ultimate, gets an insane knock up onto Snitch. Snitch dies, Leon dies, and this was kind of the turning point of the whole the whole game in total, to be fair. You know, Ruiz does really well to bait out Team Queso, and you know, Team Queso were able to, you know, capitalize on the mistakes here. As you can see, you know, Team Queso get a bit of confidence from that. They realize that, you know, they can win team fights now. You know, Rix do make a mistake, unfortunately. Andre does get the top lane out of it as well. As again, you know, more side wave managements. They get the dragon as well, and this really brings the goal lead back to even. As you can see, it's only a 400 goal lead now. It might even go to even because of the dragon. I can't really remember exactly what happens. I think it might go to even. Yeah, look, dead even, 49,000.9 each. Like pretty much 50k gold for each team. You know, even though Rix are 11 kills to 3, Team Queso do so well to, you know, manage the side waves, get all the minion waves, get the dragons, get the towers as well. As you can see, Rix is still trying to push this mid lane. Rix really want this mid lane tower, but it's so hard against Ziggs to get this mid lane tower. You can see they're trying everything possible to get this mid lane tower, because if Rix get this mid lane tower, then it opens up the map so much, and the Ziggs can't, you know, push up as much, and they can't stand as forward too much. Because, you know, just a quick thing, if they do get this mid lane tower, it means Ziggs has to stand behind the tier 2 tower, because as Ziggs, you just want to kind of play safe, clear the minion waves. So, you know, Ziggs standing behind a tier 2 tower, if Rix get the mid lane, then it opens up the map so much, it means that they can move towards the bot lane jungle and the top lane jungle of Team Queso. It means they have river control more as well, because they're able to just push down their minion waves, and Ruiz kind of has to play passive. But because they still have this mid lane tower, Ruiz always has somewhere to fall back on, which I think was a big part of this whole. And you can see there the damage of Ziggs is absolutely disgusting, even with just 2 items. As you can see, again, Rix trying to group along the mid lane. But you can see, again, you know, Ibu pushing up in the top wave. Bot lane wave is pushing on the side of Team Queso. This is what Team Queso do so well. You know, Ziggs by himself can just hold mid lane against 5 people. Maybe not by himself, maybe with someone else. So, you know, they rotate Ibu up into the top lane. The top lane wave is pushing. The bot lane wave, it looks like is pushing as well on the side of Team Queso. I'm not really too sure how many minions are down there. But Rix try and go for a team fight here. They try and catch out Memorized. Unfortunately, Memorized is a Rakan, so can dash multiple times. As you can see, again, multiple people on the side of Rix are down the mid lane. Snitch is trying to clear up in the top wave. He tries to clear 1 minion. Or actually, no, Leon actually decides to go up in the top lane. But it's this series was very back and forth, and you know, honestly, this is one of the best series I've watched. You know, just a bit behind the Game Law versus Team Queso series. But it's really interesting. I think it's the first ever best of 7 series I've watched as well, which is really interesting overall to see that obviously because Wild Rift is such a fast-paced game, best of 7 series are not as long as say like PC League of Legends, for example. You can see here, Dragon is coming up fairly soon. Infernal, I'm pretty sure Infernal Elder was like every single Elder this whole series, which was absolutely mental. You can see in terms of items now, Darius has the Black Cleaver, Deadman's Play, Steric's Gauge. You can see again, Ziggs in the mid lane, again using his ultimate. Rix cannot get this mid lane tower, which must be so frustrating on the side of Rix. You know, they're always pushing mid lane. They're always trying to, you know, keep track of this Ziggs to try and capitalize and try and get that mid lane tower so they can, you know, open up the map a little bit more. And Ziggs can't play as aggressive. But they just can't do it. And Ziggs now with 3 items, he's scaling really well. The Luden's Echo, the Leandri's Torment, the Death Cap. You know, it's just really hard. You know, Xayah has 3 items now. Lee Sin has 3 items. And, you know, on the side of Team Queso and the Ziggs, they are scaling fairly well, to be fair. You can see Ari has 3 items now as well. Friend has 3 items. You can see the Ziggs bomb. You know, that Ziggs ultimate is up like every, what, 30, 40 seconds? He can just keep using it mid lane. He can keep using it to clear sideways. He can use it to clear mid lane. And it means that Rix can't get this mid lane tower. But this whole game, Rix are trying to push this mid wave and trying to get that mid wave priority. You can see Doom here trying to kill and trying to pressure onto Reese. Snitch trying to go in as well, but Snitch unfortunately gets caught out here with the bombs, which was really well played by Snitch. Memorize tries to go in as well, and as you can see here, you'll see Reese here with the damage. The Ziggs bombs again onto Reese, and the ultimate is up again for Reese, and then Andre jumps in, gets the kill onto Friend, which was a huge kill to go off on onto Friend to be able to get the kill just before Elder Infernal as well. Now, this was a pivotal point again throughout this whole series, you know. And then Team Queso are able to open up the map. You know, they get the 2 mid lane towers. They're able to rotate over to Elder Infernal as well. Get the vision control. You can see the double sweep on the side of Team Queso for the jungler and the support, which I always say. They're able to go back to base. They got the gold now for the 2 mid lane towers. You can see Team Queso are in a gold leads. Like, you know, even though Rix are ahead in goals, Team Queso are in a gold lead, which is absolutely mind-blowing, to be fair. And then, you know, Team Queso go back to base. They get the reset. Friend is still up in 10 seconds. So Team Queso are like, cool, we're going to go and get vision control on this dragon. Which, again, you know, vision control in this game is really important. But as you can see here, this is a crucial moment again. You know, Friend is still back in base, but Rix know that they can't just give up this Elder Inferno for free. But the most important thing is that Rix don't have any vision at all across the whole river. So Rix kind of have to face check here. You know, they can't give up Elder Inferno. If they give up Elder Inferno, then it's such a big dragon, and it's just really hard to give up. You know, they have 1 ward down here, down in the tri bush. But other than that, they don't have any vision at all. They have the 1 ward there. So they don't actually... Oh, they have 1 ward actually there. My mistake. They have 1 ward there, so they can actually see now that they're actually doing the dragon. But as you can see here, Team Queso are just making sure that they can... get the priority on this dragon. As you can see, Friend is still, obviously, was dead. He was still off in the distance, unfortunately, so he wasn't able to make an impact on this fight. But a huge play here was Memorize and Andre. I want you to keep focused on these 2 champions. Memorized here, using his ultimate, getting a huge double knock up there onto Doom and onto Snitch, which pretty much puts them out the team fight. You know, on the other side, Leon does really well to kind of zone out the Zaya and the Ziggs as well. But then Andre uses his Q, he dashes over the wall, he gets a double ultimate into the Q as well, and Andre Memorize just completely delete Snitch and Doom off the entire map. Then on the other side, you have Clue and Leon, which are trying to kill, you know, Ruiz. They're trying to kill Acolyte. They're trying to do their best, but they already lost the top side of the map completely. You can see Andre is still alive. It's a 3v3 situation. You can see Memorized Andre still pretty much 4 HP. Acolyte still 4 HP. You know, Leon's down to half HP. Clue's down to pretty much 1 HP. And as you can see from this whole team fight, they try and focus down Friend, which is trying his best to do so much damage, but it's so hard in the situation with so many tanks, with the Lee Sin and with the Darius. And as you can see, they were able to win the team fight. But the whole reason they were able to win that team fight was because of the catches beforehand. They were able to catch out Snitch in the mid lane, take him down to half HP. They were able to kill Friend as well just before the Elder Infernal, which gives them full vision control of this whole Elder Infernal pit, which means that Rix have to face check. And obviously with Rix face checking, Memorized and Andre does really well to catch out the Snitch, catch out Leon with a huge double knock up. I mean, Memorized was a smurf throughout this whole series. Same with Andre as well. I mean, throughout this whole tournament, really, Memorized and Andre, for me, were like the two standard players, with Ruiz as well. Ruiz was really, really good on Galio multiple times. But Memorized on this Rakan was absolutely insane. Multiple engages. You know, Andre as well on this Lee Sin was absolutely insane. And at this point, it's really, really hard on the side of Rix. And for Rix to have a kind of the early 3,000 goal lead, obviously 3,000 is not a lot, but to have the early kill lead, as you can see, the damage on the Ziggs ultimate now takes 3/4 of Snitch's HP. Like, when Ziggs gets to late game, when Ziggs gets to this point when he has 4 items, he's unkillable. You know, he's not only unkillable, but does so much damage as well. And it's so hard for Rix to actually walk up and try and do anything. As you can see, again, the vision control again of Team Queso. You know, Rix don't have any wards at all in the Baron pit. So Doom doesn't actually realize that actually, you know, Baron's down to 1,500 HP because there's no wards around the Baron pit, which is obviously really, really well played by Team Queso, being able to get the vision control. As you can see, Doom's off to the tri-bush, but it's gone. You know, it's gone already. You know, Doom didn't actually realize it was that low on HP. Maybe he was waiting a little bit to use his W, because Xin Zhao's W does get a little bit of vision. But as you can see, you know, they get the Baron. But Memorize gets a little bit too aggressive here. Unfortunately, he gets picked off, but it's fine because Team Queso already get the Baron. As I take a sip of the drink there, as you can see, again, Ruiz with his bombs do so much damage. It's absolutely disgusting. You know, again, really, really good wave management by Acolyte. You know, pushing up the mid wave, the top wave, sorry. Fortunately, the middle bot lane is kind of pushing against them, but they're kind of using the Baron buff minions to push 2 minion waves at once, which is really, really important. You know, they're pushing the mid wave, they're pushing the top wave at the same time, which is really, really nice. As you can see here, again with the Ziggs bomb, Snitch is pretty much down to half HP. The Ziggs ultimate comes out, and Snitch is dead. You know, at this point of the game, Ziggs does so much damage. It's so hard to do anything on the side of Rix, since, you know, Ziggs has gotten into the late game. You know, and this was kind of the real turning point for me for this whole series. You know, Rix pulled back a game. Rix pulled back a game in game number 3. They were able to, you know, do really, really well with the Seraphine, as Ibu's going a bit crazy there, and Ruiz as well. Rix last game were able to, you know, do really, really well. They were able to, you know, come back and everything. I think Clue was actually giving it at the same time. You can see Clue was actually giving it the same thing as well. Yeah, it's great. Like, honestly, this whole series, like, so back and forth, like, it was mental. Like, Clue was giving it as well, which was quite funny. But Ibu and Ruiz going a bit crazy there. But yeah, I mean, this for me was the pivotal point. You know, Rix getting an early lead. I think it was like 11 kills to 1, getting an early gold advantage, but then just losing out on that Elder Infernal Dragon is just so heartbreaking. And then in the end, Team Queso actually come out on top and in the end, Team Queso go into game number 5, and they're able to win out in the whole series. As you can see here, you'll see that Team Queso win out on the whole series. They win out in the game, and they become victorious. But I think in terms of mentally, that was a really, really huge game for Team Queso, because they were behind, but they knew they had the Zig, so they could come back. And yeah, and then they were able to take that momentum into game number 5 and win out the series. But I think that was kind of a, you know, it was really, really hard for Rix to kind of come back after, you know, being so close to winning game 4 and bringing the game back to 2-2. And obviously, if they brought the game back to 2-2, it would have been huge. You know, 2-2, the game's completely even. It's anyone's game. But Team Queso take it to championship point, and they win out the series. But GG to Team Queso. They will be going to the Horizon Cup. Obviously, I feel really, really sad for Rix, because I know a few of the, you know, quite a lot of the players. I know Snitch, I know Mozilla really well, I know Friend, I know Clue, I know Leon as well. So it's really, really sad for them. But credit where credit is due to Team Queso. They came in prepared. They were really, really well prepared as well. But after losing to Rix so much during the Origin series, it must feel really, really nice for Team Queso to actually win. They go to Horizon Cup, but, you know, overall, the tournament was really, really amazing. You know, Scoundrel, D-Man, and Trid done really, really well. Viperion and the, I can't remember the woman caster as well, the Spanish one. I can't remember her name, unfortunately, but she did really, really well as well. The, you know, the whole production and everything was really, really nice. You know, it's nice to see Wild Rift kind of come to life in like a LAN sort of situation. Unfortunately, you know, us fans couldn't go and travel, but, you know, hopefully sometime soon. But hopefully you enjoyed this analysis of this series. It was a great, you know, great final, great competition overall. You know, hopefully we get some nice Origin series clashes and rivalries next year as well after the Horizon Cup. But yeah, thank you for tuning in as always. I appreciate it. I will see you all very, very soon. Take care of yourselves and have a good rest of the day. Peace.